Alright, here is chapter 12 of Prodigy. Day. Later that night, I head out to the main conference room and join the others to hear about the next phase of the mission. Razor's back again. 4 Patriots continue to work in a small cluster at one corner of the room, mostly hackers from what I can tell, analyzing how speakers are mounted on some building or other. I'm starting to recognize a few of them. One of the hackers is bald and built like a tank, if a bit short. Another has a giant nose set between half-moon eyes on a very thin face. A third one is a girl missing an eye. Almost everyone has a scar of some sort. My attention wanders to Razor, who's addressing the crowd at the front of the room, his figure outlined in light with all the world map screens behind him. I crane my neck to see if I can catch Tess, milling around with the others, to take her aside and try to apologize. When I finally catch sight of her, though, she's standing with a few other medics in training, holding out some sort of green herb in her palm and patiently explaining how to use it. Or so I think so. I decide to save my apologies for later. It doesn't seem like she needs me right now. The thought makes me sad and oddly uncomfortable. Day! Tess finally notices me. I give her a quick wave in return. She makes her way over to me, then pulls out 2 pills and a small roll of clean bandages from her pocket. She pushes them into my hands. "Stay safe tonight, okay?" she says, breathlessly fixing me with a firm stare. There's no sign of the earlier tension between us. "I know how you get when your adrenaline's pumping. Don't do anything too crazy." Tess nods the blue pills in my hand. "They'll warm you up if it's too cold out there." Acts old enough to be my caretaker, I swear. Tess's concern leaves a warm feeling in my stomach. "Thanks, cousin," I reply, tucking her gifts away in my own pockets. "Hey, She stops my apology with a hand on my arm. Her eyes are as wide as ever, so comforting that I find myself wishing she could come with me. "Whatever, just promise me you'll be careful." So quick to forgive in spite of everything. Had she said those things to me earlier in the heat of the moment? Is she still angry? I lean over and give her a brief hug. "I promise, and you be safe too." She squeezes my waist in response, then heads off to rejoin the other young medics before I can attempt my apology again. After she's gone, I turn my attention back on Razor. He points to a grainy video that shows some street near the Lamar train tracks Kate and I had passed earlier. A pair of soldiers hurry across the screen, their collars flipped up against the falling sleet, each of them munching on steaming empanadas. My mouth waters at the sight. The Patriots' canned food is a luxury, but man, what I wouldn't give for a hot meat pastry. "First of all, I'd like to assure everyone that our plans are on the right track," he says. "Our agent has successfully met with the Elector and told him about our decoy assassination plan." He circles an area of the screen with his finger. "Originally, the Elector had planned to visit San Angelo on his morale-boosting tour, then head here to Lamar. Now word is that he'll be coming to Piera instead. A few of our soldiers will be accompanying the Elector instead of his original troop." Razor's eyes sweep over me, then he gestures to the screen and falls silent. A video replaces the grainy Lamar train track scene. We're seeing footage of a bedroom. The first thing I notice is a slender figure seated on the edge of a bed, her knees tucked up to her chin. June, but the room is a nice one. Certainly doesn't look like a prison cell to me. And the bed looks soft and thickly layered with blankets I would have killed to have back in Lake. Someone grabs my arm. "Hey, there you are, hotshot." Pasco standing beside me, that immediately cheery grin plastered all over his face, those pale gray eyes pulsing with excitement. "Hey," I replied, giving him a quick nod in greeting before turning my attention back to the screen. Razor has started giving the group a general overview of the next phase of the plans, but Pasco tugs on my sleeve again. "You, me, and a few other runners are heading out in a couple of hours." His eyes flicker to the video before settling back on me. "Listen up. Razor wanted me to give my crew a more specific rundown than the one he's delivering to the group. I just briefed Baxter and Jordan." I'm barely paying attention to Pasco anymore because now I can tell that the small figure on the bed is June. It must be her, with the way she pushes her hair behind her shoulders and analyzes the room with a sweeping gaze. She's dressed in pretty cozy-looking night clothes, but she's shivering as if the room's cold. Is this elegant bedchamber really her prison cell? Tess's words come back to me. "Day, have you forgotten? June killed your mother." Pasco tugs on my arm again, and forces me to face him, then leads me to the back of the group. Listen up, Day, he whispers again. There's a shipment coming into Lamar tonight by train. It'll have cartloads of guns, gear, food, and whatever else for the warfront soldiers, along with a whole ensemble of lab equipment. We're going to steal some supplies and destroy a rail car's worth of grenades on it. That's our mission tonight. Now June's talking to the guard standing near the door, but I can barely see her. Razor's done addressing the room and has fallen deep into conversation with two other patriots, both of them occasionally gesturing up at the screen, then drawing out something on their palms. What's the point of blowing up a cartload of grenades? I ask. This mission is the decoy assassination. The elector was originally scheduled to come here to Lamar at least before June had a talk with him. Our mission tonight should convince the elector, if he isn't convinced already, that June was telling him the truth. Plus, it'll be a nice change to steal a few grenades. Pasco rubs his hands together with almost maniacal glee. Nitroglycerin. I raise an eyebrow. Me and 3 other runners are going to do the train job, but we'll need a special runner to distract the soldiers and guards. What do you mean, special? What I mean, Pasco says pointedly, is that this is why Razor decided to recruit you, Day. This is our first chance to show the Republic that you're alive. It's why Kate had you strip the dye from your hair. When word gets out that you were seen in Lamar taking down a Republic train, people are gonna go nuts. The Republic's notorious little criminal still up and about even after the government's attempt to execute him? If that doesn't stir up people's sense of rebellion, nothing will. That's what we're aiming for, chaos. By the time we're done, the public will be so pumped about you that they'll be salivating for revolution. It's the perfect atmosphere for the elector's assassination. Pasco's excitement makes me smile a little. Messing with the Republic, this is what I was born to do. Give me more details, I say, moving my hand in a come-hither gesture. Pasco checks to make sure Razor's still going through the plans with the others, then winks at me. Our team is going to unhook the grenade rail car a couple of miles from the station. By the time we get there, I don't want there to be more than a handful of soldiers guarding the train. Be careful now. There usually aren't many troops near those train tracks, but tonight's different. The Republic will be on the hunt for us after hearing June's warning about the decoy assassination. Watch for extra soldiers. Buy us the time we need and make sure they spot you. Fine, I'll get you your time. I cross my arms and point at him. You just tell me where I need to go. Pasco grins and slaps me hard on the back. Great, you're the best runner out of us by far. You'll throw those soldiers off without a hitch. Join up with me in 2 hours near the entrance where you came in. We're going to have a ball. He snaps his fingers. Oh, and don't mind Maxter. He's just sore that you get special treatment from both me and Tess. As soon as he walks away, my eyes go back to the video screen and stay frozen on June's figure. As it continues playing, pieces of Razor's conversation with the other Patriots reach me. Enough to hear what's going on, he's saying. She has him in position. On the video, June seems to be dozing with her knees tucked up to her chin. There's no sound at all this time, but I don't think much of it. Then I see someone step inside her cell, a young man with dark hair and an elegant black cloak. It's the elector. He bends down and starts talking to her, but I can't make out what he's saying. When he gets closer to her, June tenses up. I can feel the blood draining from my face. All the chatter and bustle around me fades into the distance. The elector puts a hand under June's chin and brings her face toward his own. He's taking something that I thought was just for me, and I feel a sudden shattering sense of loss. I want to rip my eyes away, but even from the corner of my vision, I can still see him kissing her. It seems to last forever. I watch numbly as they finally pull away from each other, and the elector steps out of the room, leaving June alone, curled up on the bed. What's going through her mind right now? I can't watch any longer. I'm about to turn my back, ready to follow Pasco out of the crowd and away from the scene. But then something catches my eye. I look up to the monitor, and just in time, I see June hold up 2 fingers to her brow in our signal. It's past midnight when Pasco, me, and 3 other runners paint wide black stripes across our eyes, and suit ourselves up in dark war front uniforms and military caps. Then we head out to the Patriots' underground hideout for the first time since I arrived. A couple of soldiers wander by now and then, but we see more clusters of troops as we head farther out of our neighborhood and across the train tracks. The sky is still completely covered with clouds, and under the dim street lights, I can see thin sheets of sleet falling. The pavement slick with drizzle and icy slush, and the air smells stale, like a mix of smoke and mold. I pull my stiff collar higher, swallow one of Tessa's blue pills, and actually wish I was back with her in Los Angeles' humid slums. I tap the dust bomb hidden inside my jacket, double-checking that it's dry. In the back of my mind, the scene between June and the Elector plays on repeat. June's signal was for me. Which part of the plan does she want me to stop? Does she want me to forfeit the Patriots' mission and escape? If I defect now, what will happen to her? The signal could have meant a million things. It could even mean she's decided to stay with the Republic. I shake the thought furiously from my mind. No, she wouldn't do that. Not if the Elector himself wanted her. Would that make her stay? I also remember that the video footage of them didn't have sound on it. Every other video we've seen has had crisp sound. Razor even insisted on making sure the volume was turned up. Had the Patriots stripped it from this one? Are they hiding something? Pasco stops us in the shadows of an alley not far from the train station. Train arrives in 15 minutes, he says, his breath rising in clouds. Baxter, Iris, you two come with me. The girl named Iris, long and lean, with deep-set eyes that constantly dart around, smiles, but Baxter glowers and tightens his jaw. I ignore him and try not to think about whatever he's trying to put in Tessa's mind about me. Pasco points to the third runner, a petite girl with copper-colored braids who keeps sneaking glances at me. Jordan, you're going to pinpoint the right rail car for us. She gives Pasco a thumbs up. Pasco's eyes shift to me. Day, he whispers. You know your drill. I tug the edge of my cap. Got it, cousin. Whatever June means, this is no time for me to leave the Patriots behind. Tess is still back there in the bunker, and I have no idea where Eden is. No way I'm going to put both of them in jeopardy. Keep those soldiers busy, right? Make them hate you. Oh, keep those soldiers busy, yeah? Make them hate you. That's my specialty. I gesture up at the slanted roofs and crumbling walls towering around us. To a runner, those roofs are like giant slides made smooth by ice. I say a silent thanks to Tess. Already the blue pill is warming me up from the inside out. As soothing as a bowl of hot soup on an icy evening. Pasco gives me a wide grin. Well then, let's show them a good time. I watch the others hurry away along the railroad tracks through the veil of sleet. Then I step farther into the shadows and study the buildings. Each one is old and pockmarked with footholds, and to make things even more fun, they all have rusted metal beams crisscrossing their walls. Some have top floors that are completely blown off and open to the night sky. Others have slanted tiled roofs. In spite of everything, I can't help feeling a twinge of anticipation. These buildings are a runner's paradise. I turn back down the street toward the train station. There are at least 2 clusters of soldiers, maybe more, that I can't see on the other side. Some are lined up along the tracks in expectation, their rifles hoisted, the black stripes across their eyes gleaming wetly in the rain. I reach up to my face and check my own stripe. Then I pull my military cap down tighter on my head. Showtime. I get a good foothold on one wall and shimmy my way up toward the roof. Every time I tuck my leg in, my calf brushes against my artificial leg implant. The metal is freezing cold, even through fabric. Several seconds later, I'm perched behind a crumbling chimney 3 stories up. From here, I can see that, just as I expected, there's a third group of soldiers on the other side of the train station. I make my way to the other end of the building and then leap silently from building to building until I'm on top of a slanted roof. Now I'm close enough to see expressions on soldiers' faces. I reach into my jacket, make sure my dust bomb is still mostly dry, and then crouch there on the roof to wait. A few minutes pass. Then I stand up, pull out the dust bomb, and fling it as far from the train station as I can. Boom. It explodes in a giant cloud the moment it hits the ground. Instantly, the dust swallows up that entire block and races down the streets in rolling waves. I hear shots from the soldiers near the train station. One of them yells out, "There! 3 blocks down!" Way to state the obvious, soldier. A group of them breaks away from the station and starts hurrying toward where the dust cloud has blanketed the streets. I slide down the slanted roof. Shingles break off here and there, sending showers of ice mist into the air, but through all the shouting and running below me, I can't even hear myself. The roof itself is slippery as wet glass. I pick up speed. The sleet whips harder against my cheeks, and I brace myself as I reach the bottom of the roof and then launch into the air. From the ground, I probably look like some sort of phantom. My boots hit the slanted roof of the next building, this one right next to the train station. The soldiers still there are distracted, staring down the street toward the dust. I do a little hop at the bottom of this second roof, then grab onto the side of a street light and slide all the way down the pole to the ground. I land with a quick, muffled crunch on the pavement's streaks of ice. "Follow me," I shout at the soldiers. They see me for the first time, just another nondescript soldier with a dark uniform and black stripe across his eyes. "There's an attack on one of our warehouses. Could be the Patriots finally showing their faces." I gesture to both of the groups left. "Everyone, commander's orders, hurry." Then I turn on my heels and start running away from them. Sure enough, the sound of their pounding boots soon follows. No way would these soldiers dare risk disobeying their commander, even if it means leaving the station momentarily unguarded. Sometimes you gotta love the Republic's iron discipline. I keep running. When I've led these soldiers 4 or 5 blocks down, past a dust cloud and several warehouses, I suddenly veer off down a narrow corridor. Before they can turn the corner, I run straight at one of the alley's walls, and when I'm several feet away, I jump up and kick off against the brick. My hands shoot out. I grab onto the second floor's ledge, and it's only the work of the moment to spring up to it. My feet land solidly on the ledge. By the time the soldiers have rushed into the same alley, I've melted into the shattered crevice of a second-floor window. I hear the first ones pause, then their bewildered exclamations. Now's as good a time as any, I think. I reach up and pull my cap off, letting my white blonde hair tumble loose. One of the soldiers turns his head up fast enough to see me dart out of the window crevice and turn the corner from the second-floor ledge. "Did you see that?" someone shouts incredulously. "Was that Day?" As I jam my feet into the spaces of old bricks and pull myself up to the third floor, the soldiers' tones go from confused to angry. Someone shouts at the others to shoot me down. I just grit my teeth and leap up to the third floor. The first bullets ricochet off the wall. One hits inches away from my hand. I don't stop. Instead, I lunge up toward the top floor and swing up onto the slanted rooftop in one move. More sparks light up the bricks below me. Off in the distance, I see the station. The train's arrived, half hidden behind steam, and parked unattended except for several soldiers who have stepped off the train itself. I scamper up the roof and slide down its other half, then take another flying leap to the next roof. Down below, some of the soldiers have started rushing back toward the train. Maybe they finally realized that this was all a diversion. My eyes leave the station only when I go flying onto another rooftop. 2 blocks away. Then an explosion. A bright, furious cloud rolls up from farther down the railroad tracks, and even my rooftop vantage point shudders. The impact makes me lose my balance and fall to my knees. There's the blast Posco had mentioned. I take in the inferno for a moment, pondering. A lot of soldiers are going to be heading over there. It's dangerous, but if my job is to let the Republic know I'm alive, I better make sure I'm seen by as many people as possible. I push myself back onto my feet and run faster, stuffing my hair back up into my cap as I go. The soldiers below have split into 2 groups, one dashing toward the explosion, the other continuing to trail me. Suddenly, I skid to a stop. The soldiers rushed right past the building I'm on. Without wasting another second, I slide down the roof and swing down from the edge of the gutter, boot into foothold. One after another, I climb down to the pavement. The soldiers probably just realized they'd lost me, but I'm already blending into the shadows on the ground. Now I'm running steadily along the street as if I'm just another soldier. I head for the train. The sleet's coming down harder. The blaze left over from the explosion lights up the night sky, and I'm close enough to the train to hear shouts and pounding feet. Did Posco and the others get out safely? I quicken my steps. Other soldiers materialize through the sleet, and I fall smoothly into line with them as we jog alongside the train. They're rushing toward the fire. "What happened?" one of them shouts to another. "Don't know. I heard some sparks set off the cargo." "That's impossible. The rail cars are all covered." "Somebody get a hold of Commander DeSoto. The Patriots made their move, and word of the elector there." They continue on. I miss the last half of the sentence. I gradually slow until I'm at the back of the line, then I dart away into the tiny slip between 2 rail cars. All the soldiers I can see are still headed for the blaze. Others are in the area where I'd set off the dust bomb, and the others who'd been chasing me are probably still bewildered. combing the streets I was running. I wait until I'm certain there's no one else near me. Then I slide out from between the rail cars and run along the opposite side of the tracks that the other soldiers were on. I let my hair loose again. Now I just need to choose the right moment to make my grand appearance. There are small markings on each rail car that I pass. Coal, tracked guns, ammunition, food. I'm tempted to stop at the last one, but that's just the like part of me talking. I remind myself that I'm not scavenging on the streets anymore and that the Patriots have a full pantry in their headquarters. I force myself to keep going. More markings, more war front supplies. Then I pass a marking that forces me to stop. A shiver runs down my arms and legs. I quickly jog back to see the marked rail car again, just in case I had imagined it. Nope, there it is, embossed into the metal, the one I'd recognize anywhere, the 3-lined X. My mind whirls. I see the red spray-painted symbol scarring my mother's door, the plague patrols making their way from house to house and lake, Eden being taken away. There's no way this symbol could mean anything other than the fact that my brother, or something related to him, is on this train. All my interest in the Patriots' plan goes right out of my head. Eden might be in here. I can tell the 2 sliding car doors are locked, so I take a few steps back, then run at it. When I'm close enough, I jump, take 3 fast steps against the car's side, grab the top edge of the car, and pull myself up. There's a circular metal seal in the middle of this rail car's roof that they're probably using to access the interior. I crawl over to it, run my fingers along the edges, and find 4 latches holding the seal down. Feverishly, I pry them loose. The soldiers should be coming back any second now. I push against the seal with all the strength I've got. It slides open a crack just enough for me to jump in. I land with a soft thud. It's dark enough so I can't see anything at first. I reach out my hands and touch what feels like a round glass surface. Slowly I begin to make out my surroundings. I'm standing in front of a glass cylinder almost as tall and wide as the rail car, with smooth metal casing on top and bottom. It emits a very faint blue glow. A small figure is lying on the floor inside, with tubes poking out one of his arms. I know right away that it's a boy. His hair is short and clean and a mess of soft waves, and he's dressed in a white jumpsuit that makes him stand out against the darkness. A loud buzzing in my ears blocks out everything and anything. It's Eden. Eden. It must be him. I've hit the jackpot. I can't believe my luck. He's right here. I found him in the middle of nowhere, in all the vastness of the Republic. In a stroke of insane coincidence, I can get him out. We can escape into the colonies sooner than I ever thought possible. We can escape tonight. I rush over to the cylinder and pound my fist on the glass, half hoping it shatters, even though I can tell that it's at least a foot thick and almost certainly bulletproof. For an instant, I don't know if he can hear. Then his eyes open. They dart around in a weird, unfocused way before attempting to settle on me. It takes a long moment to process the fact that this boy is not Eden. The bitter taste of disappointment stings my tongue. He's so small, so close in age to my brother, that I can't stop the image of Eden's face from overwhelming me. Others exist who were also marked with unusual strains of plague. Well, of course there would be. Why would Eden be the only one in the entire country? The boy and I just face each other for a while. I think he can see me, but he can't seem to fix his gaze. He keeps squinting in a way that reminds me of Tess's nearsightedness. Eden, I think back to the way his irises had bled from the plague, from the way this boy is trying to gauge me. I can tell that he's almost entirely blind, a symptom my brother probably has too. He suddenly snaps out of his trance and crawls over to me as fast as he can. He presses both his hands against a glass. His eyes are a pale, opaque brown, not the creepy black that Eden's had been when I last saw him. But the bottom halves of both irises are dark purple with blood. Does that mean this boy, that Eden, is getting better because the blood is draining away, or worse because the blood is draining in? Eden's irises had been completely filled with blood the last time I saw him. "Who's there?" he says. The glass muffles his voice. He still can't focus on me, even at this close range. I snap out of my trance, too. "A friend," I reply hoarsely. "I'm going to get you out." At that, his eyes pop open. Hope instantly blooms on his small face. My hands run along the glass and search for something, anything that can open this gaudy cylinder. "How do you operate this thing? Is it safe?" The boy pounds frantically against the glass. He's terrified. "Help me, please," he exclaims, his voice trembling. "Get me out, please, get me out of here." His words break my heart. Is this what Eden's doing? Terrified and blind, waiting in some dark railcar for me to save him? I have to get this boy out. I steady myself against the cylinder. You have to stay calm, kid, all right? Don't panic. What's your name? What city is your family from? Tears have started to run down the boy's face. My name's Sam Batinsky. My family in Helena, Montana. He shakes his head vigorously. They don't know where I went. Can you tell them I want to come home? Can you? No, I can't. I'm so gaudy helpless. I want to punch straight through the rail car's metal sides. I'll do what I can. How do you open the cylinder? I ask again. Is it safe to open? The boy points frantically to the cylinder's other side. I can tell he's trying hard to contain his fright. Okay, he says in an attempt to think. It's safe, I think. There's something over there that they type into, he replies. I can hear the beeps, and then it makes the tube open. I rush to where he's pointing. Is it my imagination, or do I hear the faint sounds of boots pounding against pavement? It's some sort of glass screen, I say. The word locked stretches across it in red type. I turn back to the boy and knock on the glass. His eyes swivel toward the sound. Is there a password? How do they type it in? I don't know. The boy throws his hands up. His words contort with a sob. Please, just... Damn it, he reminds me so much of Eden. His tears are making my own eyes water. Come on, I coax, fighting to keep my words strong. Gotta stay in control. Think. Any other way this thing opens, aside from the keypad. He shakes his head. I don't know. I can already imagine what Eden would say if he was this boy. He'd say something technical, thinking like a little engineer that he is. Something like, do you have a sharp edge? Try finding a manual trigger. Steel yourself. I pull out the knife that's always in my belt. I'd see Eden taking gauges apart before and reconfiguring all the inner wires and circuit boards. Maybe I should try the same thing. I place the blade against the tiny slit running along the keypad's edge and carefully apply some pressure. When nothing happens, I push harder until the blade bends. Doesn't help at all. It's too tight, I mutter. If only June were here. She'd probably figure out how this thing works in half a second. The boy and I share a brief moment of silence. His chin drops to his chest and his eyes close. He knows there's no way to open it. I need to rescue him. I need to save Eden. It makes me want to scream. It's not my imagination. I do hear the soldiers getting closer. They must be checking the compartments. Talk to me, Sam, I say. Are you still sick? What are they doing to you? The boy wipes his nose. The light of hope has already faded from his face. Who are you? Someone who wants to help, I whisper. The more you tell me, the easier it will be for me to fix this. I'm not sick anymore, Sam replies in a rush like he knows we're running out of time. But they say I've got something in my blood. They call it a dormant virus. He stops to think. They give me medicine to keep me from getting sick again. He rubs at his blind eyes, wordlessly begging me to save him. Every time the train stops, they take a blood sample from me. Any ideas what cities you've already been to? Don't know. I heard the name Bismarck once, but... The boy trails off as he thinks. And Yankton? Both are warfront cities up in Dakota. I think about the transport they're using for him. It probably maintains a sterile environment so people can go in and take a blood sample, then mix them with whatever activates the dormant virus. The tubes in his arms might just be for feeding. My best guess is that they're using him as a bioweapon against the colonies. He's been turned into a lab rat, just like Eden. The thought of my brother being shipped around like this threatens to drown me. Where are they taking you next? I demand. I don't know. I want to go home. Somewhere along the warfront. I can only imagine how many others are being paraded up and down the warfront line. I picture Eden huddled in one of these trains. The boy has started to wail again, but I force myself to cut him off. Listen to me. Do you know of a boy named Eden? Have you heard that name mentioned anywhere? His cries grow louder. No, I don't know who. I can't linger anymore. Somehow I manage to tear my eyes away from the boys and run to the railcar's sliding doors. The soldiers' footsteps are louder now. They can't be more than 5 or 6 cars away. I take one last glance back at the boy. I'm sorry, I have to go. It kills me to say these words. The boy starts to cry again. His hands pound against the cylinder's thick glass. No, his voice breaks. I told you everything I know. Please don't leave me here. I can't bear to listen anymore. I force myself to step up the side latches of one sliding door and get close enough to the railcar ceiling to grab the edge of the top cylinder seal. I pull myself out into the night air again and back into the sleet that stings my eyes, and whips ice against my face, and struggle to regain my composure. I'm so ashamed of myself. This boy had given me whatever help he could, and this is how I repay him? By running for my life? Soldiers are inspecting the car some 50 feet away. I slide the seal back into place and shimmy flat against the roof until I've reached the edge. I swing down and land on the ground. Pasco materializes out of the shadows, his pale gray eyes flashing in the dark. He must have been looking for me. "Why the hell are you here?" he whispers. "You were supposed to make a scene near the explosion, yeah? Where were you?" I'm in no mood to play nice. "Not now," I snap as I start running alongside Pasco. Time to head back to our underground tunnel. Everything whizzes past us in a surreal fog. Pasco opens his mouth to say something else, hesitates when he sees my face, and decides to drop it. He starts again, this time more quietly. You did good enough. Probably got the word out that you're alive, even without all the extra fireworks. Your run up there on the roofs was pretty amazing. We'll see tomorrow morning how the public reacts to your appearance here." When I don't reply, he bites his lip and leaves it at that. I have no choice but to wait until Razor's finished with the assassination before they help me rescue Eden. A tide of rage against the young elector swells in me. I hate you. I hate you with everything I've got, and I swear I'm going to put a bullet in you the first chance I get. The first time since I joined the Patriots, I actually find myself excited for the assassination. I'm going to do everything to make sure the Republic can never touch my brother again. In the chaos of the burning fire and shouting of troops, we slip away down the other side of the town and back into the night.